Hi YouTubers, it's George. I'm in the Mazda Bongo doing a little job, and I noticed a couple of times with the motorhome or campervan, whatever you like to call it, to do with the control panel, and we switch it on to the van position, which is fine on the needle, and then I switch the fridge on, and the needle dips when it first starts, and sometimes the fridge cuts out, and I'm going to check the wiring because to see if it's thick enough, because to me that small dip is an indication that the cable to the fridge is not man enough for the job, or there's a bad electrical connection. So I'm going to take this panel off and just have a look at the gauge of the wiring, and yeah, it's like there's a volt drop in the cable from the battery to the fridge. So I'm just going to have a look at this switch because it might just be a bad electrical connection. I'm going to have a look at the back of the switches. Well, here's the wiring, and the main power feed comes in on this thick red one here. It goes through the first switch to this connector, then that connector goes to that connector, to that connector, to that connector, and then onto the fridge one there. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It goes through 6 connectors almost before it gets to the fridge wiring there. I would have thought it could have done the opposite. It wants a thick wire from the switch to there first, and then back the other way, because it's thinner wire, this is. I don't know whether that'll make a difference. It just seems a bit backward. So the current for the fridge goes through that wire, then that wire, then that wire, then that wire to the thick one, and you can see the gauge. Yeah, I'm not sure when I can rewire this, so it's a thicker wire. It's a bit messy, isn't it? I've got enough connectors and cable to do that. Thinking about it, not sure. Well, with my multimeter I've tested the voltage across these wires to the fridge, and it was reading 11 volts, so there's a volt drop somewhere. So I'm going to check the battery voltage now. Well, from the main control panel here to the leisure battery, I think there's about a just under a 1 volt drop when the fridge is working, and so the cabling is a bit weak, but it's going to be quite a job to run a wire through, and so I think I'm going to have to leave it as it is. Now what I've done, I've put the campervan on charge on the mains hookup, and of course when it's on hookup, when we're on site, it's actually powering the fridge and the lighting as well as charging the battery. So I'm going to see just having the van with the fridge off, the lights off, and it's just charging the battery to see whether it brings the battery voltage up, because it's only sitting about 12 volts, and yeah, it could be the battery to battery charger's not working when we're driving, or something like that, or the fact we do 2 shorter journeys in the motorhome and it's just not charging it. We'll have to wait and see. Another day, another dollar on the Bongo. This is the leisure battery sitting here, and this is the engine battery sitting over here. And I've had it on charge overnight, and it's now at 13.4 volts. So I'm now going to check the engine battery. The engine battery reads exactly the same as a leisure battery, so that's a good sign. Right, I'm going to disconnect the charger now and we'll check the voltage on here again. Put that in there, put that in there. .13 volts. Yeah, so we'll just leave that now and we'll see how we get on. Probably just the fact that I do short journeys and it's not putting enough into the leisure battery from the dynamo. The split charger is sitting there. Cargo cuts out at 12.8, cuts in at 13.2. Yeah, it's got a light on it at the moment. Yeah, something I can test another time. I think I'm happy with that.
We have temporarily linked Fred's brain to George. But when we switch on, George may reject Fred's brain. It is the crisis point. Start at 100 volts.